Hey everyone, it's Pat from Pat's Over Music, and today we're checking out more one-finger riff videos. These are all of your requests. If there's something that you want to see that's not in this video, definitely leave me a comment, but otherwise let's dive right on in. As you can see from the first song, we're near the sort of 12th fret, so you want to come on here with your first finger on the 12th fret of the 3rd string, or the G string. You play and then slide 2 frets up to the 14th. Then back to the 12th. Then 10th. Then upper string to the 12th, then 10th, then 12th. What we've got so far? Then same string, back 2 frets to the 10th, then upper string to the 12th. What we've got so far? Then all the way back to the 12th fret where we started on the 3rd string. Then slide again 12th to 14th. That whole first section, that's half the riff. Well done. Second half is very similar. Start again on the 12th fret, 3rd string, sliding up to the 14th. Then back to the 12th, 10th, upper string to the 12th. Back to the 10th, up again to the 12th, so very similar to the first half, back to the 10th, same string, then up a string to the 12th fret, and this is the only difference, so I'll play that again, the second half. Then down to the 3rd string, 10th fret, and you play the 10th, slide to the 12th, then back to the 10th. That's the whole thing, well done. Now, what I highly recommend doing is have a look. Every time you see a 10th fret, use your first finger. Every time you see a 12th fret, use your 3rd finger, and you can slide that 12th, the sort of, your 3rd finger from the 12th to the 14th. Okay, so the next one is a great request. It's by CCR, and it's Have You Ever Seen the Rain? We're going to do a few chords, but I'm going to actually show you how to play with one finger as well. Dive right on in. So the first chord you'll be playing would be a C, which you could play on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. And that's actually played, that chord, or that note is played 3 times. So all through the verse, Someone Told Me Long Ago, and then again, There's a Calm Before the Storm, and again. And then when he says, I know, all you do is just jump up a string. And then G again. And then back to C. Now, if you're playing them as full chords, here's what they would look like, and here's the fingers. And that's for the C. And then over the G, you can play it like this. Then back to C. Now, strumming wise, it's a mixture of sort of down and up strums, but even just to begin with, just try down, down, up, down, down, up. Then for the chorus, it's a little bit trickier, so you want your first finger on the 3rd fret of the 4th string. So for F, so I wanna, and then jump all the way up to the 6th string, no. And then there's the walking bass line. Now if you were playing them as sort of full chords, you could play F like this, then over to G. But if you're just playing them as single notes, that's fine too. So the next part of the chorus is a walking bass line, so it sounds like this. So how you do that, it's a lot easier than it looks. The next part, it's a walking bass line. It sounds like this. Now we can make it a lot easier than that. What you want to do is start off with your first finger on the 3rd fret, then back a fret, then open 5th string, then 3rd fret 6th string. So you've just walked down that scale. But if you wanted to play it the correct way, what I suggest you doing is playing a C like this, then take your 3rd finger off and move your 2nd finger up to the 2nd fret on the 5th string. Then move your 2nd string down a string and move your 3rd finger underneath for A minor. Then this is the really tricky part, move your pinky up to the 3rd fret on the 6th string. So you've got an A minor, but you've got a G in the bass. And that's the walking bass line. Then back to F, G, or 3rd fret 4th string, up to 3rd fret 6th string. That's it. So just so the chorus makes sense, you can play the 3rd fret on the 4th string, then up to the 3rd fret on the 6th string, then you play that walking bass line, then 3rd fret again, then up a string, then again that walking bass line, then down to the 3rd fret on the 4th string, up again to the 6th string, but you resolve down a string. And that's it. So it would be. But that's it. Take your time. It's such a fun song to play. If you've never heard of CCR before, definitely give them a listen. A lot of really fun songs in the key of C with those chords that we've just played. Well done. Okay, so the next one is In the End by Bachelor Brides. Let's check that out. Definitely switch to humbuckers if you can, turn up the distortion. I'm going to show you one finger and then power chords. Let's check it out. So we're checking out the chorus of the song, the ridiculous sort of lead work that's at the start. That would definitely require a lot more fingers, but checking out the chorus, you're going to start off with your first finger on the 1st fret of the 6th string. And you can either strum that sort of open, or you can rest the meaty part of your palm down. Up to you, maybe you want to do one palm mute and then you want to sort of leave it sort of ringing out. A little bit of difference there. Once you've strummed that 8 times, jump down a string and go to the 4th fret 8 times. Up a string, back a fret. Now as power chords, you would stretch your 3rd finger down a string and have a sort of fret in between the two. Or strummed. Extra bonus points if you can put your pinky underneath your 3rd finger on the string below that. So that whole first section you actually play twice. So here's what that sounds like. Once you've done that, you immediately drop down onto the 3rd fret of the 5th string. Play that 8 times. Then up a fret, same string. Up a string, back a fret, and then there's a little bit of a pause while there's sort of crowd cheers, so you can maybe do like you can maybe slide down, or you could do like a pick scrape. That would sound kind of cool too. Then go to the 1st fret in the 6th string, 4th fret 5th string, up a string, then back a fret. So play the whole thing as power chords, but try one finger, then try turning into power chords. Here it goes. And that's it. Great suggestion. If you've got any other sort of metal or hard rock songs, definitely leave them in the comment section. They're a little bit tricky for me to do because these guitars are actually supposed to be tuned down like a step and a half with some of the strings, but it still sounds great sort of chugging along with the main song. It'll sound great, but definitely leave those comments below. Next song. Okay, so next song we're checking out is Pagadisco, Death of a Bachelor. Thank you for the suggestion. I somehow completely missed this album and I've been loving it, listening to it all week. So never think that your song is sort of too silly or too small for me to try and find or work out. Definitely leave that comment. So diving right on in, even though there isn't a lot of guitar, you can definitely still play it as a guitar piece and it sounds great playing along with those just ridiculously amazing vocals. So the chord sort of progression for the verse is D minor, G, C, A minor, and you play that 4 times. Just like that. You can add in a little bit of strumming if you want. Now, an easier way to play it would be just using one finger, and you could maybe jump in on the 5th fret of the 5th string, D, then up a string to the 3rd fret, then down a string to the 3rd fret, then open. So again, 5th fret, 5th string, 3rd fret, 6th string, down a string, open. Even try that as power chords. That's the verse, you play that 4 times. The pre-chorus is slightly different. You then go to an F, if you're playing full chords, then F minor, C, A minor, then D minor, D, G. Then it goes into the Death of a Bachelor part. Playing it with one finger, the pre-chorus, you could go on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, then play that again, then up a string, then open, then 5th fret, 5th string, then 3rd fret, 6th string, and maybe play that sort of 4 times as sort of a build up into the chorus. As power chords, you could play it like this. Into the chorus. Chorus is A minor, D, F, and C, sort of 4 times. So you could play the open 5th string, 5th fret, then 1st fret 6th string, then 3rd fret. So you can play it like this. But you've got all the chords, so try and do sort of work up to playing the full chords. That's it. Thank you for the suggestion. Next, we're checking out a great song by Tragically Hip. Thank you for the request. Diving right on in. So it really sort of jumps around and based on sort of 2 chords and then changes slightly. 2 chords would be G. You could play it like that. And then over to A minor. They're the main 2 chords. Now an easier way to play this is actually just play the 3rd fret and the 6th string. Then you could either play the open fret 5th string, or if you wanted some fretting practice, go from the 3rd fret 6th string, same string 5th fret. or as full chords. Okay, so that's basically the verse and the intro. You start off with just G, then A minor, or 3rd fret, then open. Repeat that 4 times. Okay, now once you've done that 4th times, or if you were strumming, it would sound like this. So remember, do that 4 times. Once you've done that, it changes then and it goes to a B minor, and then a C. But what I would recommend you doing is 1 finger on the 2nd fret 5th string, then upper fret, and then here's the full B minor chord, and here's the full C chord. Think of B minor as if you were making an A minor without your 1st finger, and then just move it up 2 frets and then put your 1st finger down. And then C. And then after that, just back to our G and A. And again. And that's the majority of the song. Well done. Thank you for the suggestion. Another brilliant song choice, Harvester of Sorrow by Metallica. Such a fun riff. And even throughout the song, there's more amazing riffs. This is just one I've chosen. So diving right on in, you want a sort of humbucker equipped guitar, maybe some sort of heavy distortion. And when I'm talking about palm muting, I mean resting the thickest part of your hand on the strings. So instead of sounding like this, it sounds like this. So more of a sort of percussive sound. Now to start with, have your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and you want to play that 6 times, but it's like this. So after you play the 1st note, it's a bit of a pause. So just sort of practice that rhythm. And again. Once you can do that, jump up a string to the 3rd fret on the 6th string, play that, and as you pick it, slide back to the 2nd fret. Then open sort of 6th string but muted. Then jump down a string, 2nd fret on the 5th string, slide back to the 1st fret. Then palm mute strike again. Then 3rd fret on the 6th string, slide back to the 2nd. So if you were to break it up, a quarter of the riff would be, then the next part, fantastic, that's half of the riff. Here's how it sounds. Once you've done that, you actually instantly jump into the next part, which would be starting on the 1st fret. So let's do it one more time. And then instantly back to the 1st fret on the 6th string, but do the same rhythm to begin with. So it's the same, yeah? So now do that same rhythm again. Then open. Then same riff again. So 3rd, slide back to 2nd. Then jump down, sort of open palm stroke. Then jump down to 2nd fret, slide back to the 1st. Then back up, open palm. Then 3rd, slide back to 2nd. And then you would just start again after that. So here's that 2nd part of the riff. Then you would just start again. So first half of the riff. Then you just do that in a little bit of a loop. I'll do it nice and slow. And then you would just do that in a little bit of a loop. Now the next part is a little bit harder. You start off with the sort of 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. You play that 6 times. Do the riff again. And then back to the 1st fret and you play that 6 times. Then you play the open, slide, open, then 1st fret 5th string 4 times. So that last part again. And that's it. Now here's the whole thing and what it would sound like as power chords. Now as a power chord, what you want to do is have your first finger here, skip the next fret, and then jump down a string and use your third finger. So see how there's a bit of a break? There's a fret in between the two. Now you can play it with your first and third finger, you can play it with your first and pinky, like sort of Metallica does, a lot of rock and metal bands do. Completely up to you, it's going to get the same sound. Whatever's more comfortable. And you'll notice that I sort of extend them with the octave and put my pinky underneath, but you certainly don't have to do that. And here's how the whole thing sounds nice and slow with power chords. And that's the whole riff. Highly recommend learning it. It's so much fun to play. Okay, this was definitely a fun one to learn, but it is very tricky, and as you can see, I'm using multiple different fingers. I'll show you, of course, the one finger method, but take your time and learn to use your third finger and your pinky as well. Great suggestion, Flobots by Handlebars, I think, Handlebars, Flobots, yes. Heaps of fun, let's check it out. So you want to sort of have a bit of a clean sound, and there's a bit of muting going on in the song, so you can rest your hand just a little bit so you get this sound. So it's sort of ringing out, but also cut a little bit short. So you want to come on here with your first finger on the 7th fret of the G string, 3rd string, then drop back a fret, down a string, back a fret, down a string, then back up a string to the 6th fret. So we've got so far. It's like the first phrase. Then go the 7th fret, but this time on the 4th string, down a string to the 5th fret, down a string, back up. So that's the second phrase. It's the first phrase, second. Third phrase is a lot harder. You want to come up to the 8th fret on the 5th string, drop down, down and back a string, then up a string and back a fret. So, then drop down a string to the 5th fret, 2nd string, 8th fret, almost used my pinky, but trying to use with one finger. So 8th fret there on the 2nd string, then back to the 5th fret. So I'll play that whole first section. That's half the riff. Well done. Well done. Now, highly recommend every sort of 7th fret, sort of using your 3rd finger, and then if you're a fret behind, just use your 2nd and your 1st. Then jump up, use your 3rd finger, 1st. For the next bit, I actually recommend using your 3rd finger and then your pinky underneath it for both those 8 frets. Then pinky. Second half of the riff, well done so far. So first finger on the 8th fret of the 4th string, down a string, back a fret, down a string, back a fret, then drop down to the 6th, back up a string to the 8th fret. So we've got so far. Then down a string to the 6th fret, all the way up to the 10th, back to the 6th. Then the sort of last part of the tag is back a fret to the 5th fret, then 8th, then 5th, up a string 5th, 8th, down a string to the 5th fret, and then skip strings so you go to the 7th fret and the 3rd string. Then you would start again. That whole thing, I know it's a lot to sort of take in. And then you would start again. So the whole thing. A very long riff, but heaps of fun to play, and a pretty cool song and great film clip. Thank you for the suggestion. So next one is Helter, Skelter by the Beatles. Great chorus riff, heaps of fun to play. Make sure you switch to the bridge pickup, add some distortion. Let's check it out. So you want to come on here with your first finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. You play that twice with the open string above it as well. Then you move up 2 frets and play that twice. Now here's the riff. It's 5, 4, 2, or it would be, you can think of it as being G, F sharp, and then back to E. Then you jump up a string and you repeat that again. And then on that 2nd fret, as soon as you pick the 2nd fret, pull off to an open. So I'm only actually picking once. If that's a bit too tricky, you can pick both the notes. Up to you. I just find it a little bit smoother to play. But here's the whole part again. Then you repeat that upper string. You've taken the whole thing and just moved it up a string. Then back down a string again. And that's the chorus. Now, highly recommend every time you see a 5th fret, using your pinky. Every time you see a 4th fret, use your 3rd finger. It would look like this. Pretty great riff from the Beatles. Moving on. So next we're checking out Mr. Sandman, diving right on in. So you want to have your first finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Once you've done that, drop down a string, 2nd fret as well. Open string. 4th fret. Back to the 2nd fret, same string. Open. What we've got so far. Then 2nd fret on the 2nd string. Upper string. So that first section. Then the sort of tail end, same string, go to the 4th fret. Down a string to the 3rd fret. Down a string to the 2nd fret. 5th fret, same string. Then 4th fret. Whole thing put together. What I recommend doing though is using these different fingers. So first finger for the first 2 notes, then open, 3rd finger, first finger, open, first, then 3rd finger, 2nd finger, first finger, pinky, 3rd. And that's it. Have fun, it's really, really fun to play, and once you can build up speed as well, it sounds great. A very requested song indeed, so we are checking out Money by Pink Floyd. A lot easier with your 3rd finger and your pinky, but I'll show you the 1 finger method. Diving right on in, you want to use your first finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Skip a string and go down to the 4th fret on the 3rd string. Then up a string, 4th fret. Then back to the 2nd fret on the 5th string. And has this sound. It's quite quick. What I would recommend is trying to get up to using your first finger for any notes on the 2nd frets and your 3rd finger for any notes on the 4th frets. It's just so much easier. But either way is possible. Next thing, you're going to be jumping up a string to the 2nd fret on the 6th string. Then all the way up to the 5th fret, same string. Back to the 2nd fret on the 5th string. Same string, 5th fret. Then back to the 2nd fret. So that whole thing together. Now, I'm going to show you an easier way to do it using multiple fingers. So again, 2nd fret, use your 1st finger. 4th fret, use your 3rd. Jump up a string. Pinky. So any 2nd fret, use your 1st finger. Any 4th fret, use your 3rd finger. Any 5th fret, use your pinky. But otherwise, you play that riff like 20, 21, 22 times to begin with, and then it comes up to this 2nd part of the riff. Let's check that out. Should it come in on the D string, 4th string, 4th fret. Then you want to play that twice. Up a string. Back down. 2nd fret, 6th string. 5th fret. Then 4th fret, 5th string. Then 4th, 3rd, 2nd on the 4th string. Then open 6th string. 3rd fret. Then open 5th string. 2nd, 5th. That whole thing again. Then you would start again. Well done. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Now, if there was a riff that you want to learn or a song that you want to learn that wasn't in this video, leave a comment below. If you're having trouble playing, send me a message over at my Facebook. And otherwise, I'll see you again in a couple of days. Bye.